Well, hello everybody, welcome back down in the dungeon. It is Sunday, so we are kind of going to take a bit of a look at what's still growing on down here in the basement. But I also wanted to show you, I'm a little more committed to that DWC idea, and I did end up converting that one fish food container into a little kind of garden, and so far it seems to be going really well. So, yeah, I definitely want to make sure I show you the DWC stuff today. I want to show you what's going on with those new Sansi lights. I'm pretty impressed with that, but that could be a combination of DWC and the lights, so I don't quite know which one to give credit to. But either way, let's take a look at what's growing on down here and how those itty-bitty peppers of mine are doing, setting up for 2019. I guess before we get started with the peppers, though, here are those tomatoes that I sprouted by accident, really. I was attempting for pepper seeds, and I've kept them going because I just can't seem to bring myself to kill them. And wouldn't you know, this one's not only got flowers, but we've got a little tiny tomato on that one there, and this one that has fallen over because it's got really no structural support. We look carefully in there, which is really hard to do under this light, but there is another little tomato in there too. So kind of glad I didn't kill those off yet. Be curious, we might actually get some proper fruit out of this. Takes forever for things to ripen down here, so I'm not exactly holding my breath, but it is nice to see those tomatoes forming there. What else we got here in the aquaponics while we're at it? Well, there's the mint, of course, doing so well. And we got little tricolor sage down here. This one, I'm having some drain issues, so it doesn't actually have proper flow into it right now, so I have to actively remember to water this one. And the parsley is the same. I'm having some issues. I think the roots may have gone up into the drain or it could be just these little tiny clay pellets one has gotten actually stuck in the drain, so I have to hand water this one as well. But that's just going back to my no power aquaponic roots, so no big deal there. As for the things that are, properly getting flow, the sage is doing alright. Clearly going towards the light, so I'd like to see it maybe grow a little more straight up, but that's kind of my fault, seeing as how there is no light straight up from there. The oregano, on the other hand, this plant is not doing well. I don't know if it's the spectrum or what, but I keep checking it. It's getting water, so that's not the issue. And I mean, clearly, it's good healthy water, right? Lots of nutrients, or why would the mint look like that and the sage look like that, and when it does get watered, the parsley looks like this. So I don't think the water quality is an issue for the oregano. I think it's probably a light quality issue, so I'm probably going to try and save that by transplanting it into something different and, well, moving it either under the new lights or at least under a fluorescent light, so it's not dealing with this kind of funky spectrum anymore. But here's a quick look at what's going on in the aquaponic garden. Scanning down over here, it's kind of fun. Always fun when you're sprouting new seeds, but as you can see, not a lot sprouting here. The only thing that really did come up for me was two of the big chocolate Batmans. They're doing alright. I mean, the third one did come up, but not really doing much. So I'll be transplanting these guys out probably sometime over the next week. A little disappointed that nothing else came up in that tray, but such is life, and it's still very, very early. I've got lots of time. Thinking of things that did randomly come up, this is one of the random compost peppers, and if you look, you can see I've got little flower balls starting on there, so that is going to be really, really interesting. Looks like my Ahi Fantasy could use some watering, but here we have, trying to put down that lid. Here we have the larger DWC, got lots of room for roots in here. You can see it's nice and dark. There's going to be no light penetrating in there. We've got the roots going down nice and deep already. Got a little air stone bubbling away in there. Now this is another one of the random peppers, so I have no idea what it's going to produce, but it sure looks happy in there, so I'm hoping it will do well. Like these ones here, not looking so happy. And I don't know if that's just because of the lack of air stone in there or what, but everything gets taken over the fish tank and aphids brush down into it. It's time for the Ahi Guyana here to have that treatment. But still, some things are doing significantly better than others. Here's a good example of that. The oregano here that's under the fluorescent light, we've got much nicer color. And this just gets watered from the fish tank, so again, it's the same water going into it. I can only assume that the issue that other one is having is light. So yeah, probably going to move it over. Might put it in here, might put it in a separate one. Haven't really full on committed to anything there yet, other than it's going to get moved. But yeah, let's take a look down here at the itty bitty pepper collection, where we can see quite a few of these things are doing fairly well, and quite a few of them really are not. This one here, not looking great. So I think it is getting on time for me to transplant some of these into larger cups, which is perfectly reasonable. I mean, these are really, what, they're 2-ounce cups? Haven't actually measured them, but they're not big cups, you know. The kale seem to be doing all right. Like, that's clearly the nicest of them. And so far, it really looks like this is the best light spectrum for the kale. So I'm probably going to be leaving them on this shelf until they go outside, sooner or later. But they're doing all right. They're doing all right. Now this tricolor sage, on the other hand, not doing so well at all. Again, it's time for me to take these over the fish tank, knock off a bunch of aphids. But at least feeding them to the fish is kind of reducing their numbers for me somewhat. Here we can see the pitcher plant. Seems to be doing okay since the light situation has changed a little bit for it. It's getting some of the offshoot from that 40-watt Sansi light, so that's not bad. It's not bad. And up here we've got the DWC under the 40. That's looking good. As you can tell, I've got a few little cups kind of sitting around the edge so they can benefit from that light. If we go looking in here, well, you can just barely see that airstone working away. Not sure how well these roots are coming up on the camera, but there are a lot of little, very tiny, fine, I almost want to call them fingerling roots, that are just spreading out and doing fantastic. So I am quite excited to see what's going to come of this. There's the Caribbean Red Habanero. There's that monster. Again, this is an unknown pepper variety, so when it gets to it, I have no idea what it's going to produce, but I know it's a volunteer, so I'm hoping that it will be happy to produce for me, you know, because that's kind of what matters here. And we've got under the 15-watt. The Reaper seems to be doing a little bit better under this light than it was under the fluorescent, and beside it, this is the one that had the sunflower in it for a while. You can tell the sunflower is no longer with us. It did not like this particular location, kind of flopped over dead within a day or two. But looking at the top of that, there's a flower ball forming in there too, so hopefully I'll get to find out what some of these volunteer peppers are. And as far as the Reaper here, well, hopefully I'll get to find out what this bears for me too. Terrified, but sooner or later I would like to try one of these things, just so I can say I've tried one fresh, you know. And more importantly, I can say I tried one fresh that I grew at home. And if we look over here at the overwintered stuff, you can see my mouse melon is just trucking right along. That just slays me. Since I put the Sansi lights in, I moved the trough of spider plants down here. They seem pretty happy, although there seems to be some commingling going on there, so I'm going to have to cut the mouse melon and the spider plant free from each other. That'll be interesting. Sugar Rush Red, definitely dead. Sugar Rush Cream, though, still trucking along, and it looks almost like down at the bottom there's some fresh green of new growth, so that is good. Hopefully that's good. My little, one of the combos of houseplants growing here, that's nice. The Yellow Scorpion from 2017. This is not a happy plant. The soil is moist, so it's not a dehydration issue. Not quite sure what's going on there, but I'll find out hopefully over the next few days and stop it from actually dying. The MOA Scotch bonnet back there, not looking fantastic, but it is still alive. Almost looks like there's a bit of an aphid infestation on that, so I guess I've got to hold that over the fish tank, but that'll give them a good hearty snack. We got the El Oro de Ecuadors here, still trucking along. Looking pretty decent since I cut it back. Hasn't died anyway, so I'll take that as a promising thing. Then the house plants down here, we've got that lemon tree, that poor thing, it's doing alright, I guess. I mean, was it 3 years old? I suspect it could be doing better. The Dieffenbachias, and there's that one Dieffenbachia that I put with the spider plants, and there were originally 3 Astrid peperomias in there. They did not make it, but everything else seems to be doing alright. This little Dieffenbachia with its splint still surviving. A couple of coffee trees here. We've got one of the pine trees that I brought in. Kind of interesting what's going on in the end here, but definitely still alive and growing. This one, I'm not so sure. Doesn't look like it, and this one definitely died off, but 1 out of 3. I'll take it in this particular circumstance. The raspberries. I am so tempted to try and pull these up and see what's going on under the soil. Just like these hawthorns, right? Very, very tempted, because I mean this is very flexible still. And it all looks kind of like it's got buds on it for next season's growth, but nothing's opening up with the light or the warmth of the dungeon, so I just don't know. But hopefully I'll get a few that I can transplant along the back fence, or, you know, define a few areas in the yard with. Would be nice, would be nice. The more, you know, free food we can put on the property, the better, right? So in many ways that's kind of what this adventure is all about. Yes. Overwintering peppers, though. This does not seem to be working for me. Speaking of working, I have recently got a new gig. I start tomorrow, actually, and it is working with animals in a large livestock facility, which means for biosecurity reasons it's a shower in, shower out situation. And I have decided, and I'm sure this is going to thrill some of you and it's going to really disappoint some of you, because that's just the way it seems to go. I have decided that I have to lose the hair. This beautiful mane of mine simply cannot survive being shampooed twice a day, and I am not getting out of a warm barn, getting into the shower, and then getting out into the very freaking, like it's minus 32 or minus 33 out there today, and I'm not doing that to my hair. That to me is a recipe to get sick if I'm just running around. So health and safety reasons, I'm joining the ranks of the voluntarily bald, and next time you see me, this will be gone. So anybody who's going to miss it, be sure to leave your you know, comments below and let me know. But that said, there's nothing that can be done about it. The hair is going. I may you know, grow it back to kind of a shorter, more reasonable length, but if I'm going to be shampooing it every day, I really doubt that's going to happen, and I'm probably going back to my security cut, which was basically a 1/4 inch over scalp. So yes, be prepared for a bit of a change next time you see me. Anyway, that's it for the basement, and a quick little catch up, kind of an explanation as to why things are going to be a little bit weird for the next little while, but get used to it and bear with me, and by the time you get used to it, I'm sure I'll be able to get things back to normal. So you know how it goes around here, right? Just when you get used to something, it changes. Anywho, I want to thank you all for being a part of my gardening adventure, and I am really looking forward to seeing what the 2019 season is going to bring. As far as, you know, the peppers that I've got going now, and some of the new gardening styles that I want to get going with, and some of the peppers that I want to get going in the future. I mean, like, I've definitely got to transplant those big chocolate Batmans, and well, if nothing else is coming up in that tray, I guess I've got to plant a whole bunch more varieties of plants just to see what's going to come up, because kind of looks like I got a whole bunch of seeds that aren't exactly viable anymore, so why even keep those around, you know? Anyway, I will for sure see you guys next week as we look at things on Sunday and such, but hopefully I'll have the opportunity to update a few different things along the way. We're just going to have to see how this first week goes. Yeah, I guess that's it. So I will talk to you guys later. Take care, everybody.